Stirring vision, the kind of moon. Running into money on the door. Line, making line. Make them do this place. Bum 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 bum. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. What was I doing? You? And horrible job shaving. Those are more expensive than right? Yeah. The peen? Hey man, how you doing? Is it coming through the mic? Is that just because? It's coming through the mic too, motherfucker. Fucking end you. What'd you do? What in the fuck? That makes no sense. What? Did you tell him that he needs to like read a little more? At least like the surface level. Mm-mm. You mean communism? Socialism does not mean the abolition of private property. That's funny, man. Did you ask him if he's been to Cuba? What the fuck? Okay. I'm like confused now. What the fuck happened? Should that be on the loopback? This should be the loopback, right? Yeah. Okay, so motherfucker. You can hear it. You can hear the guitar through the voice channel, right? Is that what's happening? I think. I'd be down. Yeah, you can hear the guitar through the voice channel, right? Fucking motherfucker. Cool. Maybe this mono? Nope. Yeah, you can hear it through the voice. Fucking. Ah! There we go. There we go. Loop back one. Got it. Got it. And then take loop back two. Where are you going? You know how debates work, right, Bogos? It's like, I mean, I like debates. It's a skill. There's like a performance to it, right? Always, it can be fun. My little debates I've been having on the panel are pretty fun, in my opinion. But it usually just devolves into just like some absolute fucking fuckery, dude. It's just not even. Is it like it's not that fun, right? It turns into just me saying a bunch of witty one-liners, right? Let's check them out though. How come I've been on his channel?
Who is racist thinks that people shouldn't mix.
In order to reopen our government, our subsidies that are paid with taxpayer. Obama said you must use the Affordable Care Plan or pay a fine or get insurance elsewhere. You must have insurance. You must use Obamacare. It will be affordable.
hopefully he doesn't agree with this woman, right? I mean, hopefully she knows that insurance only works if there's a pool of people that are in the insurance program. So if the state is going to essentially negotiate or give a pool, then obviously you'd have to be in the pool by design. I mean, it's just.
And then it ended up not being affordable at all, so we had to subsidize the cost of it with tax.
That's because insurance in general in this country is not affordable. Does she honestly think it would be more affordable if it wasn't there? Or does she think that one goes down? You're not even American.
Money
Hello, how you doing? Canada's essentially America. I mean, I can't say that anymore because the Canadians are upset and they have every right to be.
that is paid directly to insurance companies.
No. Wait. One more time.
The Affordable Care Plan, or pay a fine, or get insurance elsewhere. You must have insurance. You must use Obama.
I wonder if this fucking retard thinks that you insurance is not required to like buy a home too. Like, yes, insurance only works if there's a pool of people.
It will be affordable.
Yeah, if there's a pool of people who use it, yes.
And then it ended up not being affordable at all.
As
so
opposed
we had to subsidize the cost of it with taxpayer money that is paid.
That is literally the point.
Directly to insurance companies.
For profit, yes. It's okay. How are you doing today?
Who are causing the driving up.
Yeah, I do. Wait, what? What is happening?
Of healthcare costs in the first place. This is such a scam.
Insurance is a scam. Welcome to reality, lady. Congratulations on moving out of your fucking mother's bedroom.
And people aren't outraged. Like, it's.
I'm actually yeah, it's from today's stream. I'm an agnostic atheist. Well, where are you, Bogos? I bet I'll be able to find you. Oh my god, did you make him get off? Dude, you hurt him this bad, Bogos? The fuck? I do talk about religion a lot, though, not in like a very negative way. I can't speak for other people in my chat sometimes, but I find religion pretty fascinating, so you pay me then left. Bogos, you kicked that. You literally made him stop, I think. Atheist, agnostic. I put deist in there. Fucking Samurai is rubbing off of me, bro. Oh, there you are. All right, Bogos. Let's watch Bogos' debate. I believe in you, Bogos. All right. Don't let me down. Right there. Actually looks okay. Yeah, I'll put it right there. That looks fine.
And even just until these final days.
New York, blah, blah, blah.
I don't care. Where's Bogos?
As required. What do you think that means? What will you do?
He says Donald Trump's threatened by his campaign.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't think that God can't exist, though. I don't, it doesn't satisfy me. It's not convincing enough. I think that a God could exist, though.
Would argue. And,
the Abrahamic religions, to me, are a little too humanistic for me to believe, though.
Bloomberg among.
Cuomo has ever gotten because it took $959 million in tax breaks that he gave Elon Musk for Elon
His
Musk's
volume is low.
projects back when Cuomo was the governor. And we're seeing the two twin architects of this
you guys even hear it?
of Donald Trump's presidency in the president himself and Elon Musk saying clearly to New Yorkers that their candidate is Andrew Cuomo. And they've picked Andrew Cuomo because they know that he will be the puppet that they want right here in New York City. And he's showing
Little does he
not just to
know.
be that, but also to be the parrot in the language that he's using to close out this election.
Okay, you talk about billionaires, and there have been some really wealthy individuals who have come out and put money in the PACs against you in recent days, right? Former Mayor Michael Bloomberg among them. There are plenty of other business leaders who, in private, are afraid. They have concern. There are very few who actually will talk about it publicly, but one of them is Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan, and I'm thinking about this in light of Trump calling you a communist. Jamie Dimon did not call you a communist. He was more intellectual about it. He said, what does he really think? You know, he was part of that socialist democratic thing, which literally is more Marxist than socialist. And I read it, but I don't know.
Yes. Throw every pejorative colloquially known as something left, I think, and see if it sticks.
What he believes in that. All right. So I guess he's basically saying he's not really
impressive. You're doing God's work by letting a homeless guy have access to porn. I'm doing okay.
Sure where you stand on things.
He's 100% a Marxist.
But what do you say to that concern? Is
obviously
Marxist something you're comfortable with?
No,
I'm a democratic socialist. That's what he's going to say.
I'm a democratic socialist.
Wow, that was hard.
And I've said it time and again. When was that quote from Jamie Dimon?
From Jamie Dimon. It was from Fortune last week.
Okay.
A Fortune conference last week.
Because what he's also come out and said in public is that in our success, this is something that business leaders would also hope for the success of the city. And I put that forward to say that despite where New Yorkers may
he's extremely well-spoken.
Stand on my candidacy, whatever qualms they may have.
I'm not someone who really enjoys the game of politics sometimes, but he is very familiar with making charismatic, convincing language.
They know that I'm actually being honest with them.
That's what I mean. He worked at it, right? He's put a lot of time and effort into it, that's for sure. If you want to win, you kind of have to have that. Right?
About my
that doesn't mean that he's right, but
ideas about who I'm looking to fight for.
I do
and
see the practice.
That's sadly unique in this race, because what you have is someone in Andrew Cuomo who spent the entirety of a primary campaign on the premise that he was the best suited to take on Donald Trump. And here we are.
I want to point out the idiocy of the term democratic socialist. The two don't work. You realize.
I don't even know what to say. I think it'd be more accurate to say that if you are too democratic, like too democratic, that's kind of the problem of communism, is that when we have equal voices, equal votes, we tend to not get things done. We get paralyzed. We get people who they don't get incentivized to actually be anywhere. It's almost too democratic. I don't know how the fuck you can literally be like, those two just don't work.
Is that right? And the social,
it's like its main flaw is just like too much majority.
Economy and the socialist government, there is no voting.
What do you mean? What are we talking about? I don't even get it. No, like the main problem with communism, again, is that everyone gets an equal vote no matter what. That's its main flaw, is that sometimes it is not good. If a dude puts 15 years into building a business and he hires one person who's a vote who can kick him out when the majority is against him for no reason other than the fact that maybe they just don't want him there anymore, which maybe the guy sucks, maybe he deserves to be gone, but I don't like the fact that it's just that easy. It's too democratic. What are we talking about?
So it's like you're saying democratic, so and they'll probably try to spin it like, oh well, it's going to be different. It's going to be socialism.
That's not what I said.
Where you can vote. Well, the only vote typically in socialism that ever happens, because they've all preached the same thing, is the vote to change to socialism, and then after that happens and it goes to shit, right?
Most communist countries end up in an authoritarian place, 100%. because generally an opportunistic leader or party takes advantage of the vulnerability of the nation at the time. Very true. But this is not exclusive to communism. Fascism, the conservative way to get there, was very real and present 100 years ago, man.
It goes to crap and all the people start rebelling, then
I'm not saying communism is the best, but if you want to talk about these issues, right, probably want to at least understand them at least.
They just start
I know you don't.
knocking heads
I like you, Bogos. Okay?
over, all right? And they start getting rid of political opponents because
There it is, dude. Bogos, come. Bogos about to Bogos him, bro. Like, you can. What do you mean you can have
that's
democracy?
typically what happens.
No, you can't, Bogos. Are you kidding me?
The Chiron that Donald Trump is endorsing Andrew Cuomo.
So
Just imagine once they come for your farm.
let me ask you, because that was October 7th.
I disagree, Bogos. I disagree.
So it was actually a week and a half ago. But I want to ask you, because you asked me when he said that. Are you talking to him? Are people like that people that you're going to sit down with and eagerly work with?
I find it fun. Like, this guy's supporting Trump, right? Hey, Haley. A literal fascist. Someone who wants the end of conservative values and classical liberalism. Like, the destruction of private property to acquiesce to, like, the state in the rebirth in the nation. Sorry, the nation in the rebirth. And it's just like, huh? You're supporting a guy who wants the end of democracy, bro. What are we talking about? This guy doesn't seem like he wants to. I mean, there's no inclination to think that Mom Donnie here is going to literally go, the election's stolen, as soon as he wins or loses his election. And then, like, sends an entire fucking pack of rabid fucking animals to the Capitol.
Or not?
Look, I'll have conversations with anyone. And I've spoken to Jamie Dimon briefly, and I've spoken to a number of other business.
Name one country. Yeah, he literally is like, he said, socialism and democracy don't mix. They're like antithetical to each other. I'm watching Bogos be like, huh? Because like that's such a weird statement.
Across the city about.
I mean, I feel like the simplest way to say this would be like, it's almost communism has too much democracy, in my opinion. It doesn't scale well because the democracy can unfortunately inhibit itself. It's too free. Like every vote sometimes shouldn't be equal, right? Especially in like a workplace if it's like 15 people working. I mean, imagine being like someone who spends 15 years learning how to make the perfect pizza. You open a restaurant, and for all intents and purposes, you do you manage it well. You hire the one more person who puts you over majority, and they just vote you out. 15 years down the drain, they're taking it over. Well, I mean, sorry, bud. Like, no, that's not okay with me. It's too democratic.
My proposals. I know that there are disagreements.
Maybe he deserves to go, but my point is like there is no separation in that regard. It's just like, here's the majority. You're fucked, Mr. Pizza Man. Thank you for making a great business.
Fiscal policy that
we don't like you now. It's just like that is insane to me, right?
Who make
I'm gonna find something for
a
you.
year by 2%, or the fact that I think corporations' top tax rate should.
A lot of people think that communism has an issue of scale at the large end with like corporations and stuff. That is actually not my argument. I think the scale of communism is actually horrible when it relates to private businesses that are small. Because of that very fact, like what is the point at which you just start doing co-ops? Why would anyone want to do one then? If you are a professional and you have honed a skill, why would you ever want to include anyone else? If you knew that if you hire 2 people, they could just fuck you. Like what? You have to have some protection against that, right? And communism doesn't have an answer for that, in my opinion.
Matching that what they pay in New Jersey, and still,
I think it actually works pretty well when you have a company like Amazon, though. They're practically centrally planned already. Who the fuck cares, right? But we have a lot of small businesses in this country that would not be able to adopt that model.
There's room for an immense amount of agreement on what it means to bring the city forward, and I'll always leave that door open.
So
also, Bogos, that is not, you're kind of correct. But socialism does not need to be controlled by the state. You do not need state-owned enterprises for socialism. That is a very important thing to know. You can have socialist tendencies or socialist policies that have nothing to do with the state.
Okay, so let me just ask you about President Obama. I know that you had a conversation with him. What was that conversation about? Your most recent one.
I appreciated the conversation with President Obama, and we spoke about both
the New York Post headline is that he's not endorsing him.
Yeah, well, the New York.
They are all capitalists? Hey, guess what? Because it doesn't require the state. The state can enforce on behalf of a non-state owned enterprise. Does that make sense? You can design it in a way that the state doesn't actually have to operate the means of the production, but they can enforce the private property laws. Right? Korea is a great example of this. South Korea. South Korea had state-owned enterprises and non-state-owned enterprises. Some of them, or you can think of, why not? Socialism doesn't require the state. All you have to do is just take out the word state there. But you're correct. It means the means of production, which I think when people say the phrase means of production, I don't think it needs to be 100%. We have seen the state being the proprietor of the collective in most cases. Correct. Yeah. Correct. But you can have, things like workers' councils or unions could be considered to be more socialist, but they're not, operated by the state in some cases. You can easily do it without the state. I'm sorry, Bogos. Saudi Arabia is not socialism. You're kidding me, right? Do the average worker, the average labor, do they have any control over the means of production in Saudi Arabia? So, what about the labor? Does labor have any control over the means of the oil industry in Saudi Arabia? How is the average worker doing in Saudi Arabia right now? What exactly is in control of the means of the production there? So socialism is not about the state. It's about wages, like laborers, people who work and give their labor, right? It's a classist idea. No, it's dependent on class. So the means of production has to be owned or needs to be majorly or at least efficiently, okay? So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. I think countries should never do 100% of any of these isms. I feel like that's just dumb. Capitalism doesn't even do that. No, they don't. Do you know what the average Saudi Arabian makes? Like what the wealth inequality is in Saudi Arabia? Would you call that a socialist country when, yeah, they have horrible, so the average worker in Saudi Arabia makes nothing, even though it's a very wealthy country now. How is that socialist? What is going on there? How is the working class have any ownership over the means of production then? No, because this is what you need to understand, Bogos. You're thinking that the control needs to be done by the state. It does not need to be done by the state. Once you take the word state out of there, it would make more sense to you. There's different types of socialist ideology and different writers who, and like Haley said earlier, most of the time the proprietor is presented through the state, but that is not something that needs to happen. If the whole point of socialism is the working class has more purchasing power parity and more control over the means of the production, I have no idea how Saudi Arabia could even qualify as anything remotely like that. Again, communism is more of a stateless society. In socialism, it could be done by the state or it can be done not by the state. And communism is more of a, in my opinion at least, there's a lot of different types of communism, but the type that we see presented is a little too vulnerable to actually work. It doesn't scale well with the small business, in my opinion. But socialism doesn't need an all or nothing, I think. I think communism likes to expand into an all or nothing thing. Socialism is Think of it like capitalism. We have socialist things in the United States and we have capitalist things. We have a military that is funded by the state. We have unions that are not. Both of those are socialist ideas. We have private markets that have barriers as well as regulations to keep them private. That is more capitalist, right? You don't need to hyper fucking compartmentalize them as like a binary. So in your own definition, Bogos, really fast, you said the means of the production, right? What does that mean? In the purely Marxist sense, okay? It means a few things, and a lot of people have written about it, but what does it mean to you? What does means of production mean? Everyone's heard the phrase. I just want to know what you think. Try to do it in a single sentence. And as clear as you can. It is a really hard thing to define, in my opinion, for a lot of people. I personally have, I think, a different definition because I don't think it means, you know, pure communist, Marxist fucking revolution at every time. Okay, so production doesn't mean industry, right? What does production, the subject in this mean? You know, early socialist thought would characterize socialism as not really about means of production. That was more of a later idea when it kind of capitulated with Marx a little. So in a way, the early ideas of socialism were ideally enacted from the state, right? But the phrase means of production is something very specific in Marx's writing, right? At least who it's supposed to be for. Here, we'll do Marx. I'll just show you the quote, even though there's a lot of extra material you probably want to know, but no, where the fuck is Marxist anarchy? There it is. Oops. Get those commies out. You can see this, right? You go a little more. So we have these objects have no meaning within the labor process except to serve as means of subsistence, fine, for labor, use values for labor, like classicist Adam Smith, David Ricardo. Those were all labor value theories. In relation to living labor itself, they are its material and means. In relation to the product of labor, they are the means of its production. So the product of labor in general is the means of its production. Okay, so that means like whatever, if I spend a long time making a chair, that is the means of production in a way, and it has a scaling process. Okay, that means like when you have factories that produce a lot of items that come from someone's labor, which is, I think there's holes in Marx's labor theory of value, but nonetheless, that's the idea. It's a labor theory, right? Thinks that's where value comes from. So we have, with regard to the fact that these means of production are themselves already products as means of production of a new product. Okay. So this is completely tied to labor in general. It has nothing to do with state. Okay. There's no mention of state anywhere in the idea, like the identity of this. The state can be the proprietor of shifting the means of production back to labor, but it doesn't have to be the state. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, it's not socialist whatsoever. To me, like we could probably get lost, Bogos, and the millions of different definitions of what people think socialism is meant to mean. So I'm just going to give you my own. I think that socialism is fundamentally just tied to how much the working class owns or has control over the means of production. So that could actually mean against the state. Yeah, so again, I would just think that definition is meaningless, Bogos. I feel like socialism could actually be definitionally more clear if we just think of it as the laborers, the working class, how much control over the means of production they have. And in Saudi Arabia, that is not a thing. I think socialism, if the working class has too much, control over the means of production, then we have problems, right? We want to have a nice balance, I think, an incentive between. I'm a mixed economist, right? So I think capitalism and private markets are good because it makes, things like this necklace that I enjoy. It's hard to make the state do that. It's also hard, at least in my mind, to come up with a reason why the state or some non-private entity, whether it's a workers' council or it doesn't matter, would need to do that for a market. Because as far as I'm concerned, capitalism can provide pretty good answers for markets like this. But I'm not convinced that it's just needs to be one way or the other, right? I just find problems with communism because of the scale thing I mentioned earlier. And then for socialism, I think it really comes down to the fact that in the United States right now, we have seen a rapid decrease in the amount of control that workers have in this country. And then our expectation again is not meeting, or the reality is not meeting the expectation we had about what the economy should be and how much we should be doing and how well we should be doing, right? I think the purchasing power of the regular worker in the United States is just fundamentally fucked. So to me, it doesn't have to be done by the state though. That's not exactly what that means.
New York Post has a lot of fun with their headlines, to put it lightly. It was a conversation where we were speaking about the importance of hope in politics, the delivery of that kind of an agenda, and I also.
Yeah, I'm gonna find something for you really quick. Hold on. Is this it?
You know what this reminds me of?
Where is it at? I'm gonna let this play.
Shared with him that the remarks that I had shared outside of a mosque in the Bronx not too long ago was inspired in part by his remarks on race of a more perfect union many years ago. And I think there is often a tendency in our politics to think solely in a 24-hour news cycle, and the need to sometimes step back and speak to the soul of a city and not just the cycle of that city.
Do you think that he, and he's never endorsed a mayoral candidate, so that's why I'm making the point. Of course, he wasn't going to endorse, but do you feel that he has your back? That because there are plenty in the Democratic Party who are scared of you too, and they don't know whether you're going to succeed, if they're going to sit back and watch.
Hold on, I'm looking for something for you guys.
Do you think he's someone who's going to be in there, in it with you.
Well, I appreciate the president offering to be a sounding board. And
There's a
that's
person
exactly
way smarter than me that breaks it down
we
so you
see
guys
is
can
what
understand
the
it.
future of these next few weeks and months look like. It looks like speaking to those who've been in these very kinds of positions and putting together a team that reflects the best and the brightest that this city and this country has to offer, and then delivering on this agenda. And that's what actually terrifies Donald Trump and Elon Musk and even Andrew Cuomo the most.
What the heck is
It's
this
their
post?
fear that we will in fact accomplish the things that we have campaigned on. And that's one place where they're actually right.
All right, Zoran Mamdani, thank you very much. Obviously, we're hours away.
All right. We got another video here. I'm looking for it. Where is it? When I find it, I'll play it. I'm gonna play this next video.
About that. Some people have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
But what if Mamdani becomes mayor?
It's going to be hard for me as the president to give a lot of money to New York because if you have a communist running New York, all you're doing is wasting the money you're sending there. So I don't know that he's won, and I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest
Such a
with you.
fucking weirdo, bro.
Mamdani is the future of the Democratic Party.
Why is it so hard to find?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party.
I'm
that
gonna
are
fast
gonna
forward
be
this.
negative towards President Trump and Republicans because the media does this every single time there's an election, right? Right before the election, they'll put out a whole bunch of polls that are extremely negative, right? They'll make it seem like it's doomsday for Republicans and Trump due to the fact they're trying to listen to the mainstream media polls, all of them that were wrong, by the way, in 2024. When you talk about this current election coming up, right? When you talk about what's happening in New Jersey,
I found it.
about what's happening.
I found it. All right, here you go.
Our democracy has been attacked from within.
Yes, democracy is under attack from within by socialism.
Now listen very close to this, and this is why democracy and socialism don't work. But pay attention. This is a 4-minute video, but she breaks it down for you.
You know why? Because democracy and socialism are inherently incompatible. If you don't understand what these terms mean, or basically anything about what's going on, I'm going to explain democracy and socialism in an overview that is so clear and easy to understand. So let's start with the background. Once upon a time, before there was capitalism and liberal democracies and freedom and all of that good stuff, there was the old world order. The old world order was feudalistic, colonial. When that collapsed, the question arose, what will the new world order be? That's when the Enlightenment thinkers began to think of the new order that would replace the old. Enlightenment thinkers placed emphasis on the individual. They said that man
When does he start
can
yelling
be
at you,
trusted
Bogos?
because man is inherently rational.
What's going on here?
And because man can be trusted, he should be responsible for his own affairs. What does that mean?
Man can be trusted? Speak for yourself.
That means man has the right to enter the market. He should be able to buy freely, sell freely, ergo capitalism.
What if man is incapable of reaching market because capitalism has unfortunately limited the freedom to move into said market because capital owns markets and guides the market? What do you do then?
Got that? So then what comes
I got
next now
that,
we
yes.
have capitalism?
I spent like almost a decade of my life understanding economics, so I'm going to need her to repeat that and tell me how the fuck capitalism can solve that.
If we have individual interests, don't we need a system that protects our individual?
You could just look at the United States too. The United States has socialist policy. We have plenty of it. The United States military is one of the most advanced, best fucking social programs on the entire planet. Every fucking capitalist country has socialist programs in it. Anyone who's every one of these dudes who's just like, we're fucking free market are just fucking retarded, bro.
Interests, liberal democracy.
You literally go, well, wait a minute. Would you want to privatize the military? No, that's sacred, bro. It's in the Constitution. Can't do that.
Recognized.
Why not? It's in the Constitution.
The Enlightenment principles of
That's what happened.
individualism. And so a constitution was born to protect the individual's rights. Now let's go back to where we started. Remember we talked about the Enlightenment
Bogos, stop. No.
thinkers. There also emerged counter-Enlightenment thinkers.
That's called reverse psychology. We're a Lemony Snicket book for the free market.
Counter-Enlightenment thinkers said, you know what? I don't think man can be trusted. In fact, I think man is inherently selfish. I think man is inherently corruptible and greedy, and he should not be allowed to manage his own affairs. So counter-Enlightenment...
Literally. Okay, so counter-enlightenment is a thing, but Enlightenment principles did not believe in the free market the way this woman thinks. I wonder if she knows that Adam Smith and David Ricardo and a bunch of John Stuart Mill, a bunch of these economists who are Enlightenment economists, actually don't believe markets should be free the way she's talking about. Maybe she should like read a single one of those fucking people before she starts talking about them like this. They are classist economists. Adam Smith believes in working class and capital owners.
Thinker says, no.
They don't think of individuals the way that she's describing them right now.
The man cannot enter the market. He is a danger unto himself. And
she's literally presupposing like fucking 1920 to 1950 neoclassical thought, Austrian school thought, into classicist economist thought, thinking that that's what they fucking thought like.
Instead, there has to be a centrally planned...
She's using neoliberal ideas.
Economy.
Which, if you're familiar with what that means, it's neoclassical, neoliberal, which means post-classical for a reason. Okay? So the counter-enlightenment actually is neoclassical in a way. The neoclassical school is a counter to classical schools of economics, which she's just thinking that they think the same thing, I guess.
The centrally planned economy allocates resources to ensure equitable
centrally planned is a communist idea.
Distribution. In other words, nobody can have too much. Nobody can have too little.
That is not the function. I believe that would probably be like a property of it, but it'd be really stupid to think that that is the goal. Okay.
Till everyone has to have the same, and so
I don't really know of anyone who thinks that.
Socialism.
Every Marxist writer that I've read has never simply said everyone needs to have the same. That's like unattainable utopia. Maybe a few people. Actually, I can't think of one. I can never find a single line of someone who actually says the phrase like that, which is very common. I hear it all the time. They probably just bring up Marx's one fucking line, each according to his need, which most definitely is not supposed to be extrapolated to be the entirety of everyone needs the same thing and will get the same thing. That is a completely made up idea.
Means collective management of resources. Well, who is the collective that's managing the resources?
Could be the state, could be, and certain Marxist writers, it could be workers' councils, it could be an internal revolution against the people. So you're all hyper individuals, a weirdly neoclassical idea injected into Marxism. Rosa Luxemburg's like that. I don't know. It's very complex.
Of course, it is the party, right? The party.
No, it's not simply just the party.
Party with the capital P. Now you are going to understand very clearly.
Ideally, it's not supposed to be just the party.
Why socialism and liberal democracies are incompatible.
No, communism and liberal democracies, unfortunately, because both fascism and communism were born out of liberal democracies. They are a reaction to Enlightenment liberal democracies of the time. And the problem here again is that liberal democracies, when they start to not perform, because they are slow, because they are designed to not take action quickly and rashly, people react with populist movements like communism and fascism. And sometimes liberal democracies are overturned by those things. This is why we don't see, fucking fascism or, in my opinion, without foreign influence, communist fucking dictator or communist countries or fascist countries come out of nowhere, like in Cambodia or something. Even actually, I think there was a communist party in Cambodia, but they're all reactions to essentially when liberal democracies were being established, liberal Enlightenment principles, which dominated the world in the 1900s and the late 1800s, even if you were a random country, actually. Yeah. That, even then, does that actually say everyone gets the same thing? You'd have to do a lot of fucking, you know, extra work on that phrase, I think. I actually don't really agree with the phrasing that Marx uses that shit in with either, but like, I don't need to lie about what it actually means, right? But fascism, okay? Something very incompatible with liberal democracies. Because they want to break it. They're populist.
Democratic socialism means socialism, but it is achieved through democracy rather than through revolution.
No, we need to change the name of that. You know what democratic socialism is? I don't think so. Democratic socialism is just capitalist socialism. That's it. Literally, it's just a fucking word that allows for a little bit more socialism inside of a capitalist economy. It's a mixed fucking economy. And in my opinion, democratic socialism seems to be, at least in, I mean, I can't even make this claim because countries are like wildly different. This is the problem with macroeconomics, is that we can't test macroeconomics, right? Macroeconomics is untestable because we can't just like experiment. We can't ethically put two countries, like literally make two countries for a lab setting and test it because that would be wildly unethical. So macroeconomics is untestable. Always has been. So am I having a stroke? What the fuck is that comment, Graham? What the hell just happened? What on earth born that out of your head just now? What happened? Why are you just adding the word begging there next to homelessness? They didn't like gypsies, that's for sure, if that's what you're talking about. They definitely did not like gypsies. Pretty much all of the Eastern European fucking countries hated them.
It isn't a thing and has never happened in history because
they kind of do.
It's quite literally impossible. You cannot have democratic socialism. That's like saying individualist collectivism, because democracy means protection of the individual's rights. Allows each
See, voting, this is where you get it wrong, Bogos. This is the part you're missing.
Oh,
you think voting is the only thing that makes it a democracy.
Oh, fuck. It is a slur. So Bogos, when you use the word gypsy in like the context of talking about Europeans, it usually is a slur. So me in California saying gypsy is a little different than like if a Romanian or Romani people heard that. Probably wouldn't want to say that to them because they were like systematically fucking murdered for it. And it's definitely a slur there. There's a lot of history around that word there, so it's kind of like saying the N-word. A lot of charged history around it. I hate that it's coming through my fucking mic, bro. Maybe I should do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, I got it. We're in the clear. Hello. Oh, I did it. We're good. Oh, but it's coming through this one too. Fuck. Fuck. God damn it. It said, yeah, that's because I have it coming through two things. You know what? I'm just going to leave it here. And let me know if the guitar sounds awful because it's layered with my voice. Yeah? Is that okay? I'm losing my fucking mind right now. What the? I know, I know. I have it low
Protection
so you
of
guys
your
don't get fucked
individual
by it.
rights makes it a democracy. What do you mean this lady's dumb? She's breaking it down for you. This is the part you're missing. You think voting is the only thing that makes it a democracy? No.
What else does democracy mean? Other than like voting representation or forms of voting representation. What is he talking about?
Protection of your individual rights.
How the fuck is democracy something like private property? What? Yeah, that's okay. That's what I'm thinking here. What the fuck what does that mean? How does that make sense? You can have an undemocratic control over private property, but there can be protection of that private property. How the fuck does that make sense?
Makes it a democracy.
That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. I am. All right, square one. Democracy. Dude, let's 100% if I decided to do this, okay? In like a debate, he'd be like, you can't just do the dictionary for this. And to that I would say, yes, you can for this one, man. This is not, a very complex idea. You can definitely use a basic fucking dictionary definition. What do you say? Literally rule by the people. Yeah, well, the Greek doesn't mean anything anymore. Fine, we'll go to the other. Democracy is a system of government in which laws, policy, and leadership, major undertakings of a state or other polity, are directly or indirectly decided by the people. Wow. I thought it was states' rights or private property. There's no way he just said it means private property, right? The idea of private property is like Enlightenment ideas. Does this guy not know that like democracy is like 400 BC old? 500, my bad. That's not new. That's a that one's awesome. I love that one because of PragerU videos, man. We're not a democracy. We're a republic. It's like, okay, dude. Yes, a form of democracy. Yeah, I know. We know. Fucking Christ. But it comes from like videos like this. There was a massive fucking campaign in the 90s and 2000s and in the 70s, 1970s, which got renewed in like 2000s and 90s for shit like this.
Hey everybody, I'm Mr. Terry.
This is actually not that old, but Turning Point has one. They're a little late to that party though, aren't they? I think this is kind of the main one recently.
Indeed, in what is perhaps
shit like this.
At the close of the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787,
you know how many people I've heard quote this fucking video word for fucking word, bro?
Legend has it that a woman called out to Benjamin Franklin to ask what kind of government the delegates had created. Franklin responded, "A republic, madam.
It's a mix of both.
If you can keep it." A republic? Shouldn't Franklin have said a democracy?
No. Maybe he could have said a direct democracy or a constitutional republic, a type of democracy.
Isn't that what we have in the United States? Most people today would say yes. After all, if our country isn't a democracy, what is it? It's not a dictatorship, the rule of one man.
Well, the definition of democracy, again, means rule by the people, and it doesn't have to mean by the people directly. It could be indirect, right? There you go. That's such an annoying talking point.
What do you mean this lady's dumb? She's breaking it down for you.
She's dumb.
You're not even listening. She's breaking it down for you.
I feel like, Bogos, you were listening, but she's dumb. Even if you can't explain why she doesn't understand neoclassical and classical schools of economics.
You're missing the point here.
Or what Enlightenment economics thinkers thought.
Just because you can vote doesn't mean you have rights.
What does that have to do with democracy? What in the fuck does that have to do with democracy? Huh?
Just because you can vote doesn't mean, like, if rights are still stripped from you.
Okay. So you democratically tried to vote and then somehow undemocratically got rights stripped from you, or democratically you were voted to having your rights taken away. I don't know, but that would still be democratic or undemocratic. I don't know how that's even supposed to relate to that.
And taken from you for the state.
That could be democratically gifted.
That's not real democracy.
It is. It's just called killing yourself democracy. It's the great kind. It's the fucking kind that comes when you give people direct democracy sometimes. But it is most definitely still democracy. Does this guy think that people, the majority, is not capable of killing itself, even though it democratically elected to do so? People are fucking stupid.
Socialism. That's the pretending. That's like, hey, you know, like, for instance, in North Korea, they vote for a president every...
They don't, though? They don't democratically vote for anyone.
Every few...
Why would you even choose North Korea? I don't even think North Korea cares about a fucking election. Do they even do elections there? Why pick North Korea, bro? Thank you. There is no other option to write in other candidates. Yeah, man. They have elections there for sure. Are you kidding me? Why would you even choose North Korea, bro? They're the secret ballot, and there's only one option you can choose, I guess. An unaltered yes, or request a pen to cross out the name on the ballot. Okay. Can we call that an election?
2 years, but we all know that vote doesn't mean anything.
Yes, because it's not an election and it's not a vote.
Individual to vote.
If it's not really a choice at all involved, it's kind of like not a vote at all.
As an expression of their individual interest.
For a president every few years, but we all know that vote doesn't mean anything.
Individual to vote as an expression of their individual interest, whereas socialism...
Capitalism allows an individual to vote as an expression of their individual interest. Is that what she said? What about groups of interest?
Means protection of the collectivist interest.
Exactly. Yes. Does capitalism have any idea how to do that? In some places, in some regards?
And if
Not really. There's a reason that we don't have a private military, because the collective interest of not being fucking murdered brutally by your neighbor is kind of high. And Free markets don't do a good job of solving that, man. I don't know what else to fucking tell you.
You are in a collectivist society. You have no democratic rights.
Weird, because this dude's really hanging an American flag behind his fucking head right now. And he thinks he's an individual through and through. No collectivist thought there. No patriotism, which I would call not patriotism. I would call it something else. Probably perverse fascism at this point. Because there's no way you can honestly think that's true and then still have that flag flying behind your fucking head and be a patriot.
What is this thing that they have in Europe? Is that not democratic socialism? No, what they have is
Okay, got it. Just rechange the word meaning. Got it.
something called social democracy. A social democracy is...
This is what...
Oh. We just switched the words around like you were saying, Bogos. That's the fucking gig? Socialist democracy?
What you're talking about, Bogos. You're talking about...
Do these two fucking retards think that like Norway, Sweden, and other Nordic countries are not capitalist? Because they are mostly capitalist.
About social democracy. There's two different things.
I gotta know. Social democracy and democratic socialism. Where are they getting this from? I need to know. There's got to be some retard yelling this. Who's doing it? Illustrate to educate? Fuck you, dude. Who are you?
Social democracy and democratic socialism. Are they the same or are...
Who the fuck are you, dude? Which fucking retard is switching the words like it's a game of fucking dyslexia right now?
Hey, it's Dan Zimmerman. Welcome back.
There is no distinction.
Back to the channel where we'll be comparing and contrasting.
Dude, one sec. I got this. I'm about to make every tanky in the world so happy. With this one quick trick, you can stump all of your fucking fascist friends or your normal people who don't fucking subscribe to retard fucking ideologies like Marxist-Leninism. Marxist-Leninists? You've heard of Marxist-Leninists, right? Yeah? Get this. Marx or Leninist Marxist. Boom, motherfucker, it's different. Let's go.
Core philosophies, economic systems, the role of government, welfare, and examples between social democracy and
So, I get what they're saying here, okay? The second one, democratic socialism, has democratic in front of the word socialism, which means that it's more important. And democratic means you have private property, right? This one, though, social is in the front, which means that it's more important than private property of democracy, I think. It's very clear, man. Obviously.
Democratic socialism. Let's first compare their core philosophies. Social democracy advocates for a mixed economy, combining market-oriented capitalism.
So does the United States, you fucking retard.
With social policies aimed at reducing inequality and ensuring...
Literally, the United States does this just horribly because we refuse to think that we do this already. Like half this country is like, we don't do that. Yes, we do. What is the biggest topic right now? 40 million people losing food stamps. What the fuck are we talking about?
Social justice. Its core philosophy is to strike a balance between the private sector and the government's role in promoting welfare. Democratic socialism seeks to transform capitalist societies into socialist ones through democratic means.
What?
It advocates for the redistribution of wealth and the democratization of the...
What do you think all of this is? What do you think welfare is, if not the redistribution of wealth? You fucking...
The economy, where workers have a greater say in decision-making processes.
Does this dude think that it's simply a 0-1 binary on the right and this one is just the peace sign yoga man? What the? There is no single vote that will instantly make you, unless it's a revolution, from from capitalist to socialist or communist, like he's saying. It's going to be the left one up until it's communism. Like, what? You might as well just put 0 and 1 on the right and then just put like somewhere between and think that they're different.
Next, let's compare their economic systems. Social democracies maintain a predominantly capitalist economic system.
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see. So, oh wait, no, that's right. He said that Norway and Sweden, all them were social democracies, right?
With private ownership of businesses and industries.
Depending on which ones those are, you can't just blanketly say private ownership over industries in general, because that's just not accurate. It depends on what it is. Most industries can be privatized.
However, they believe in regulating the economy through progressive taxation, labor laws,
so literally no difference. Because I think the second one is just like the same thing, but instead we've now just said Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary 3 times in the mirror and hope that we've turned into like a Marxist-Leninist state.
And
I don't get it. This is the stupidest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. This is what it looks like when you have no answer to the fact that democratic socialist countries are actually performing well. So instead of being like, man, healthcare over there looks pretty good, you instead decide to spend your time coming up with the stupidest fucking shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
You're talking about a social democracy. And again, you're not listening. Listen to what she's saying. She's not done.
You have no democratic rights. What is this thing that they have in Europe? Is that not democratic socialism?
Interesting. Aims to, I guess. It said potentially, right? Also, is this kind of interesting because has anyone advocated for whatever their new definition of this is? Or does anyone who says democratic socialism really mean the social democracy one that they're talking about? Like, this isn't clever. Everyone, if you ask them, what does democratic socialism mean? Literally 0 people would be like, it's literally the downfall, the slippery slope, the pitfall into being a fucking communist dictatorship. Every single person would think of Norway and fucking Sweden in the social democratic one. So we've made up a new definition that means literally fucking nothing. Why? Why? Interesting. Maybe it was made by the left. And if that's the case, because there's a social democracy subreddit, all these people in this subreddit need to go kindly fuck off. Why? No one actually advocates for this. How many people are in this stupid subreddit? 37K? Congratulations. Be ratioed by literally every other fucking ideology on the planet, you fucking retards.
No, what they have is something called social democracy. A social democracy is a capitalist economy that is heavily regulated to decrease wealth disparity. Okay.
I wonder if it's regulated with something. Does anyone remember what it might be regulated with? Can we think of what type of policies we might do? Would we like, I don't know, maybe socialize some of them in an attempt to fix inefficiencies and problems that arise out of strictly capitalist ones that don't have a solution for them? Sounds good to me. America seems to be doing a really good job at healthcare.
Okay, well, maybe the DSA and Zohran Mamdani mean...
It's literally what it feels like to me right now. And not only that, but what they're doing right now, in your analogy, they're doing... Oh, you thought we meant United Atheist League? Well, we actually meant the United Atheist Alliance. And then when they tell you what that is, it's some obscure fucking team in the middle of nowhere. Or sorry, I thought that was soccer teams, but like, it's literally like, no, we're talking about like a subset of Buddhism that's kind of spiritual and is a crystal mommy. And you're like, oh, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? Why the fuck would you think I was even mentioning that? What the fuck are you talking about?
State that their objective is the abolition of capitalism, which means the collapse of liberal democracies. Now, what they'll tell you is that this is the right way forward to ensure a fairer...
Voting is a privilege, not a right.
More decent...
Yeah, so Mamdani made it very clear he wants to take away, he wants to go full socialist.
No, he doesn't. I read his platform. He has some stupid ideas, but I mean, once again, maybe why don't people just take the time to go fucking read things? Literally, I've read his platform. Where the fuck does it say full socialist? Even if he does have a weird freeze the rent thing here, maybe Mamdani is one of those fringe fucking weirdos, but like, this is his platform, so I'm gonna take him at his platform. He wants to freeze the rent unilaterally across all of New York. Dumb idea. You should probably use a scalpel, not a sledgehammer. Building affordable housing. This, I'm not sure if it's a horrible policy or a great policy. It depends on the mechanisms and machinations of how they do it, in my personal opinion. Cracking down on bad landlords. This one may be good, maybe bad. I don't know. Maybe I should read their policy memo when I read this. So he wants to streamline housing code enforcement. 5 agencies are responsible. He wants to make it all under one agency. Sounds like a good idea to me. Fix 311 and allow tenants. This is for calling people to get their rental places fixed that they're renting from to tenants. Make one website to make it better and easier. And track fines for people who don't fix it. Sounds fine to me. Increase fines for dangerous living conditions. This one sounds fine to me. I don't know. Maybe once the policy is drafted, we can look at it and see if it's horrible. Force landlords to take extreme heat seriously. This one I'm not sure about. I don't know the temperature of New York all the time. Maybe this one might be changed. I don't know. Could be dumb. Expand the scope, funding, and staffing of cities' enforcement programs. Enforcing the housing maintenance code, building code, fire code, and environmental standards. Doesn't sound dumb to me. Crack down on repeat offending landlords. So people who do all of these things that he's mentioning before a lot get fined. We should probably do this for tenants as well. Maybe dumb. Depends on how much he wants to do this. I'll have to see the legislation. Guarantee repairs. This might be a good idea because at the moment, tenants don't have a lot of protections when it comes to, I think in New York, when it comes to a landlord extorting them. I don't think making transit free is dumb. It's New York, bro. If you, Bogos, if you want a homeless person, remember we had this conversation, okay? If you want a homeless person to get a job, what is the number one thing that person needs? The money can come from somewhere. It's a very rich city, Bogos. Next, answer my question. If you are a homeless person or you want a homeless person to get a job and keep a job, what is the number one thing they need? A home is probably, technically no. I mean, when I was homeless, I slept in a car or on concrete. It was about 3 years, I want to say. And I lived next to a gym. I just went to the gym in the morning. Took a shower there. So not really. But I'll tell you what. When you have to go very far, it's pretty much impossible to keep a job. So transport is right there with a home, maybe. I think home stability would be the number one thing to keep someone at a job. But transport would definitely be right there. So if you want to help homeless people in New York, probably the best way you could to reduce the amount of them is make public transit free. That way they can keep jobs. What if the only place they could find for to sleep that night was very far away from the job they had? I don't know about you, Bogos, but when I actually had a couch I could sleep on, I did make an effort to go there. So, all right, Bogos, it seems like you're not listening at all, so I'm just going to move on. God damn it, Bog. fucking. Right, that was my bogus anger outlet. Okay, sorry.
Versus what she's talking about, what's worked in Europe, what
Also,
you're talking about.
That took like 10 seconds. I don't know if I'd call this guy a literal communist off this one platform so far. And I've read the main platform here. We can do better, right? We can do better.
Is a social democracy. It's not the same thing.
Society, the truth is actually the opposite. Because
Toronto is uniquely, I think, at a worse position than New York City. I mean, let's just, Bogos, I've been to Toronto. You know that. How large is the entire metro area of Toronto? Fuck off, Google. How large is that? You think it's okay if I take from the 407 to the 115 all the way to about the edge of it towards Kitchener? Is that okay with you? Yeah? I think we can call that the greater metropolitan area. What do you think? Probably more than fucking 1 hour. Scarborough. Mississauga. I'm at Mississauga right here. Where the fuck is Scarborough? Really? Milton's not Toronto? You serious? Oh my fucking. Do you have the same? Is it the same when it comes to the city mayor and stuff like that? I'm pretty sure it's at Milton is when it's. Or is it right here, Whaley's Corners? Okay, so right past Scarborough, we'll just do Whaley's Corner. 33 miles. Okay. 33 miles. So New York City, right? When he's mayor, is he going to be mayor of, what the hell is he going to be mayor of? Just this, right? New York City proper, or how does it work? I have no idea. I know, but for public transit, one of the main issues would probably find with pricing would be how spread out everything is, Bogos. So in Toronto, for it to make sense, for public transit to make sense, you see how spread out everything is? That would be a problem. Whereas in New York, for the most part, it's not really spread out like that. Okay, it's more spread out, I guess, in over here, in Brooklyn area, and then in Jersey a little, I guess, over here. But it's not going to be as expensive for bus lanes to exist in like New York City proper here, because a bus just goes back and forth up this fucking road right here, right? But in Toronto, it's going to have to go to some fucking obscure, fucking bus stop in the middle of nowhere that like 10 people or 5 people are going to be at, okay? On the edge of Mississauga here or something. And then it's going to have to fucking do like a long route where many of the stops have 2 people on it. There's a difference. That's one of the reasons it'll be more expensive. That's a good question. So let's find out. It is a large amount. You getting it from this? No, I'm just going to swap this out. Do New York. Less of the money for this comes from ticket fares. I mean, this is one of those things where like a general good versus private good, right, Bogos? Now, if the outcome we want here is less spending, okay? So you have to think about it that way, Bogos. Would we spend more money trying to make money off of public transport? Would we produce better outcomes? Would we get a better outcome in overall in terms of like homelessness or people being able to go to jobs or all of the intangibles that we can't really think of right now? Again, macroeconomics, super fun, can't test it without like something in hindsight. Would we actually spend more money if we just decided to make public transit free? I don't know. Logos, do you know how hard it is to prove those things? Do you have any idea how impossible it is to prove that? Just think for 1 second how it's like impossible to do that unless you're in a shelter. Somebody will pay, but what if it ends up making everything better? As in, like, once again, we make the military free, right? And someone has to pay. But would you be comfortable making it private? Would you be comfortable paying for like a AR-15 to give to a soldier so you can defend your fucking life? I don't think so. I mean, it just depends. To me, I think public transit probably would have a better outcome. That one I'm not so sure about. I feel like that could have unintended consequences for local grocers there. I don't know. Depends. Well, in Orange County, where like I live, Haley, it's not doing well. Okta is like fucking trash, and the fucking bus routes are just like they don't have a lot of them, right? So they're like 45 minutes apart, the buses a lot of the time, and then like some of these bus routes, I swear, it's just the most inconvenient garbage ever. Like we have one bus route that goes from, I shit you not, the one, yeah, the one goes all along Pacific Coast, right? And then there's one called the 85, okay, that I used to have to take sometimes, and we're talking like you'd have to change buses 3 times. You know, once you get on the 85, it takes you from. It comes like what 10 times throughout the entire day. It's like absolute trash, and it covers a very long distance. Okay, a very long distance. So, what we see here, Santa Margarita to Alicia Miguel, right? And you have to hop on the 86 is even worse. What is it? The 101, I think. Is that what it was called again? Or the 90? Yeah, the 91. The 91. That's what it was. So 85 to 91. So at Laguna Hills there, then you can go to Laguna Beach or whatever, right? We're talking, you start off fucking where here again? I never see where it starts, but somewhere around here. Here we go, Rancho Santa Margarita. So it starts like here or something, and then it goes all the way to here, and it follows this one fucking shit. It follows this one road that's really annoying and doesn't actually take you to the destination you want. So you're just watching the bus like drive away from where you need to go for like the entire time, and then it finally makes a curve, goes here, and then you have to get on another bus to go like this way, and then it goes through the canyon, not on the 5, sorry, it goes through the canyon. It's going to go down Crown Valley here, yeah, down Crown Valley right here. It's going to go up this big artery from Laguna Hills. It takes fucking forever because it just winds back and forth, and then you can go all the way down to San Clemente from there. We're talking, it's like a 3-hour trip to go from here to here. To go 24 kilometers is like 3 hours. Especially if you miss one of the buses because they're frequently not on time and they only come like once every hour. So I don't know what they're doing here, but I probably need to look into it more to see exactly how places that aren't as together would cost, but they don't seem to be doing a good job
we know
here.
that liberal democracies are the only system under which human
has nothing to do with democracy other than the right to vote. So what? You're saying the right to own property is not democratic? Is the
It's
right
not.
to own?
It's literally nothing to do with democracy. I have no idea what the fuck is happening. They don't even take the bus, bro. You know what they do? They get these. They fucking they go to like they literally buy like the shittiest 90s cars you can think of, and then they put like this on the side. They just plaster like Molly Maid. Because around here, these homes are like $2 million. So Molly Maids, they get paid well, bro. They don't take the bus. If they took the bus, they wouldn't have a job. Because the people who you're cleaning would get mad that you're there like 30 minutes later than you should have been.
Property, not democratic. Because in socialism, you don't own property. In socialism, you don't own damn near anything.
We're very car centric.
But in a social democracy, yes, there's a mix. It's not the same thing.
Human beings can thrive, under which humans can reach their limitless potential. We don't want to contract individualism. We want to expand it. When everybody has access, we have equality of opportunity, which is freedom, not...
You're not listening to what I'm saying, Bogos. What you're talking about is social democracy. This isn't the same thing. Democratic socialism doesn't exist. It's never happened. It can't happen. Social democracy has happened and has worked. They're two different things. One of them, you don't own property.
It's such a waste of time, right? Like, what is happening, man? Huh? Why? Just dump it? I can dump it. I'll do it later. Yes, we can. No, it's fine. Yes, it is. No, don't touch it, please. No, it's literally been overflowed for a while. It has no oil in it anymore. It's completely be fine dumping. Yeah, Bogos was in this
property, and in social democracy, you own property.
Quality of outcome. So if democratic socialism,
you're not picking up. I don't know if you don't want to pick up what I'm putting down here, or you're just being hard-headed. I'm trying to explain it to you here, and this person's way smarter than me. She's laying it out for you.
And has only ever resulted in tyranny and totalitarianism. Why is there a
Here's the last part of it.
Individualism? We want to expand it. When everybody has access, we have equality of opportunity, which is freedom, not equality of outcome. So if democratic socialism isn't a thing, and it's never worked, and has only ever resulted in tyranny and totalitarianism, why is there a movement to bring this here now? What they'll tell you is that...
All right, you want to know what country? North Korea, Vietnam, Cuba, China, Laos. Those are just 5. Those are just 5 of those countries. I just named 5 for you.
But now that you understand this, you understand...
Wait. What did he say? What did he say?
Understand that socialism...
Here's the last part of it.
Individualism. We want to expand it. When everybody has access, we have equality of opportunity, which is freedom, not equality of outcome. So if democratic socialism isn't a thing, and it's never worked, and has only ever resulted...
Man, I guess it's just not a thing. You know what I mean? What? I mean, there is no perfect system of government, but it seems to be, in my opinion, something that's worked the best so far. At least the experiment the US is. Can we make it better? Absolutely. Could definitely make it better. I'm not convinced by like the populist movements like communist or fascism though. I think they just create too much of a vulnerability in which what ends up happening is some horrible fucking nightmare most of the time because people believe in things that in a way are just ideally fixated on a utopia. Exactly. I mean, you can ask someone about an alternative and they will tell you right now in this country it's fascism. Like fucking half my country is cheering on what Trump is doing because it feels really good when you're in it, when you're like radically included in it. Fascism feels fucking great. But I mean, the moment you're not in it, it doesn't stay fun anymore. That's for sure. And because it's a candle that burns at both ends, it inevitably will be there.
In tyranny and totalitarianism, why is there a movement to bring this here now?
Are we like, this is what I mean, we're just unaware, I think. Tyranny and totalitarianism. Meanwhile, Trump supporter, I imagine, just like...
They'll tell you is that...
All right, you want to know what country? North Korea, Vietnam, Cuba, China, Laos.
China doesn't allow you to own property? What?
Those are just 5.
Dude, people in China be buying the homes there and the homes in my fucking country. What the fuck?
Those are just 5 of those countries. I just named 5 for you.
Like, literally, all of them have some semblance of private property. I think maybe not North Korea. I don't know. Kim sure has a lot of it, but if we're talking about like the Enlightenment private property, then no, I don't think so. Oh, fuck. No. Fuck. But not the land it is on. Well, buying a home is also not indicative of what private property means. Or else we just say the right to buy a home. Private property, again, is more about something else. It is the fundamental idea that someone can't take property you have, depending on what it is. We absolutely do that in the United States still. I mean, it's weird. It doesn't just mean home.
It's not the same thing.
Human beings can thrive, under which humans can reach their limitless potential.
Social Vietnam, Cuba, China, Laos. Those are just 5.
No, the reason they buy homes in the U.S. is because the U.S. is retarded and lets foreign investment just flood their fucking place. And China has a lot of money right now, which they are looking to invest in other places. You know, one of the biggest problems with a wealthy person is actually where you invest money. It is hard when you have so much wealth that you literally don't know what to do with it, okay? So that's the reason the IMF was created. The reason the World Bank was created is because a bunch of wealthy people were like, how the fuck do we invest this money better? So, like, it's a vehicle for people to invest. And the U.S. is just literally standing there like, please fuck my people. Take the homes. Take it right now. You have money? I don't care. California gets more property taxes. We need to be like, no, stop. Fuck off. That's what we need to do. Foreign investment in real estate is fucking massive. Not just from China to the US, we're talking globally. I actually just read an American economics journal on this looking like a few days ago. That was pretty good. Which, yes, I do this quite often. What the fuck was it? It was in the housing one. It was a really recent one, so it was no, it was fucking recent, bro. Housing costs. I think it was the July one, actually. Oh, wait, I downloaded it. I could have sworn I downloaded it, actually. Fuck. Bro. I hate everything. NFTs. Dude. I don't know where the fuck I put it. Give me one sec.
Those are just 5 of those countries. I just named 5 for you.
But now that you understand this, you understand that socialism didn't...
By the way, Vietnam is socialist framework. China's communist. Cuba's communist. North Korea is a dictatorship. And Laos is a one-party socialist state. Yeah, they don't have private property. Now, I would imagine if you're like some kind of billionaire who's paying politicians, you could probably scrape by some of those laws. But the average person, no. The average person can't own property.
Didn't fail everywhere because it was done wrong. So.
Oh, man, that's wild. It is interesting. I mean, the theory behind this can come from classical liberals to a bunch of different people, but I mean, I probably just want to go to John Locke for this again, or Thomas Hobbes. But like, I don't think he has the right idea of what private property is. Just something's not really there for him, is it? Like the right to private property just means that there's protection by the state for that property, and there absolutely is a form of private property protection in China.
It's all state owned
because it was done right.
I don't know why.
Like, who the fuck gives you the right to have property? None other than the state, right? In the U.S., the state essentially guarantees the right to private property, right? John Locke famously said that it's up to the people to give themselves these rights. It's not a divine one. Even though he thought they were abstract and unalienable, right? But he thought we needed to have an active hand in doing it. So, like, would that make us like not have private property then if the state is the one that has to protect that? I'm just curious what he would say. Would he say something other than like, no, the state is worthless, doesn't do anything, or what?
Laughing. I'm not trying to like, this isn't a funny thing to me. I'm just having a conversation here.
Our liberal democracies are under attack from within by socialism, which is a force that requires the death of liberal democracy in order to prevail.
Our democracy has been attacked from within.
You can. Are you Cuban?
Why does that matter? What? Fuck you, Bogos, dude. Are you a Cuban Canadian?
Are you Cuba? Do you live in Cuba? Because based on what I looked up here, based on what I'm reading right now, land and major resources are state owned.
Okay. All land? Home ownership is legally possible for Cubans after 2011 reform. Okay. The housing reform of 2011 allows for the sale and purchase of home at market prices. Okay, that was fast.
Private property ownership is limited to small personal plots.
Homes. Literally called homes.
For farming, based.
Or better yet, called homes.
Based on the government. So.
And he must be reading something before the housing reform then, I'm assuming, right?
If you're needed to farm, you can own your farm.
God, now let's go fucking look up this thing, dude. Oh my God. Where's the reform? It looks like it just guarantees the right or to the sale or purchase of a house at market prices. And a second one at that. What is he reading? Dude, send him this. Housing reform has reversed many of the old negative policies. It allows the sale or purchase of a house at market prices. And a second one, and a right to inheritance. Authorizes real estate agents. Wow, I wonder how many real estate agents they need for farmland. Dude's a fucking tool. What the hell was he reading? 1970 fucking socialist Cuban literature or what, bro? Oh my god. I'm dead. I'm dead.
Farm. As long as you work for the government. That's not really owning it.
I literally didn't see that anywhere in that.
I'm not stating it confidently. I'm stating it confidently because I'm reading it. If I sound confident, it's because I'm looking at the facts. I'm not pulling stuff out of my ass. I'm looking at the facts. And that's the problem. People come in here and
Post it, buddy. Let me see it in chat.
they just say stuff.
Did you ask for it?
Okay, let's look it
Bogus?
up.
Did you ask for it, Bogus? Why is he not showing it?
I looked it up.
Show
It's
it.
not that hard.
Show it. Cuba is not full communist. What?
You didn't just hear what I said. You didn't just hear what I said. I just read what it said. The only people that could own property in Cuba are people who work for the government. And that means you really don't own the property. That means the moment you stop working for the government, your home gets taken away. So you don't really own it.
I know, but
I'm not saying there's none.
I'm that's more of a comment at him, Bogos. If you're gonna sit there and tell someone, here's the facts, I'm reading it, then just show it, right? What the fuck? I don't think you need to be a farmer. Yeah, it doesn't look like you need to be a farmer. Why is it so hard to find the actual PDF, by the way? You know what I mean? Like, why? Where did he get the farm thing from? I don't get it. Where? You know what? Okay. I fucking hate everything. Yeah, is this it? Okay. Home ownership. Authorizing and facilitating. Okay. Yeah, no, it says natural persons and just in general, right? Okay, so where the fuck did this guy get farmland only from and government only? It literally just says natural citizens. Where the fuck is he?
There's probably billionaires. There's probably corrupt people that own property in these.
It literally doesn't let foreign investors
places, but the average citizen, no, the average citizen can't and won't. And you're.
I'm going insane, Bogos.
And the thing is, bogus. You're missing the whole point.
Yeah, he's missing it so much, probably because it's literally nowhere to be found. Fuck.
All those countries I just named to you are socialist or communist countries. They didn't work. Their people are under duress. They can't even leave.
China didn't work. Dude, China's about to fucking revolutionize battery technology. It's going to fucking dominate the next 100 years. Whether or not you like the fact that Xi Jinping, which, very funny, kind of reminds me of Trump. I don't know if he's a good guy. I don't know if he's Hitler reincarnated. I don't know if he has unilateral control to just like murder any Chinese citizen that he wants if he wants to on command. I don't know. I'm not actually that familiar with China, but what I do know is that whatever this guy's saying right now is just fucking stupid.
Their country in most of these places, or it's very hard. And that's what people are advocating here is socialism. That's the whole point of this conversation.
A little bit of socialism might be more optimal and beneficial, depending on what it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Bogos, you're incorrect. You're just saying stuff. You're incorrect. And I'm saying that because I'm looking at facts. I'm not saying that because I've just made it up. All right, I'm going to continue this video.
Happening in Virginia, when you talk about what's happening in New York, and that's not
you derailed him,
that Democrats can't.
I'm just not saying dumb shit like you can't own a property in. Okay, buddy.
Can't win all three. I mean, they probably will. They are the favorites to win all three. But just understand that a lot of these polls are designed to sway public opinion. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and that is why I focus mainly on this poll, because this poll actually has a track record of not being.
No, I named countries where you're not allowed to own property. That was the only dictatorship one. Oh, they're all the dictatorships, but that was the only non-socialist country that doesn't allow you to own property. The rest of them were socialist or communist.
What they want to happen rather than what is
I never said it was
actually happening, which again is Mandami collapsing. Okay, Mandami's collapsing, probably due to the fact that he's been supported by foreigners, Muslims across the country, and socialists outside of New York City, right? That is where vast majority.
Hey, guess what though, Bogos? Here, I'm gonna drop a bomb on you right now. You ready? You said North Korea is not a socialist or democratic. Guess what? Guess what, Bogos? You ready for this? It was. Until it wasn't. That's the whole point.
Take that, Bogos. You've been Bogosed. Dude. I was also hungry before I wasn't.
Said it was
actually happening, which again is Mandami collapsing.
We were all feudal until we weren't.
Okay.
Rain is wet until it's not.
Mandami's collapsing, probably due to the fact that he's been supported by foreigners, Muslims across the country, and socialists outside of New York City, right?
Yes, other Americans.
That is where vast majority.
What if Mob Donnie, who's a socialist now, was until he wasn't? Vote for him.
Hey, guess what though, Bogo?
Maybe he'll do that.
Here, I'm gonna drop a bomb on you right now. You ready? You said North Korea is not a socialist or democratic. Guess what? Guess what, Bogos? You ready for this? It was. Until it wasn't.
I just realized what country he was talking about. Also, I like the fact that someone in his chat earlier said that Bogos is on like 4 SSRIs. Meanwhile, this guy has the pupils that are like bigger than black holes in our fucking universe. Something.
That's the whole point. Socialism leads to dictatorship. It was. It used to be a.
Couldn't we say that capitalism also leads to dictatorship then? If we're just going to use like a preschool level understanding of how, you know, sequential ordering makes sense? Couldn't we say that all of human types of government technically lead? Or is he making a real
socialist country?
Does he know that like some capitalist countries just became dictatorships? Like the Nazis? Or
of Mandami support
you think that's not how it works?
actually comes from.
America, we have never had to pay attention very much to the results of a mayor's race in New York City until now. And Tuesday night's going to blow the doors off you for political fascination, all right? Here we go, the 5 boroughs. Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic Socialist, Curtis Sliwa, running again as a Republican. And
does he have a fucking red? He probably would.
Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat running as an independent. 4 years
just
ago,
watch this?
here is how it...
To be in a world where you have to choose between.
Okay, yeah, we already watched this. We're gonna go over.
What do you mean we just watched this? Did he forget what he watched?
Here, what's this? Called out for lying? Okay.
Between the NYPD and the IDF.
What's with the camera?
And I've spoken again.
So do you still believe that the NYPD is basically working in hand in glove with the IDF?
The second thing you do...
So
depends where you live, Bogos, and that's changing. Florida is abolishing property taxes, for instance. Trump...
Excuse me? You think Florida is abolishing property taxes? How else are they going to pay the damage that comes from hurricanes? What do you mean? They already owe fucking FEMA like $800 million. Are you fucking retarded? To reduce, eliminate. Okay, those are two vastly different things. Florida already has a revenue problem. I can only imagine how much of a shithole this place would be if they got rid of the only way they make money. $10 billion from the county and city budgets across the state. Okay, so what happened? An advisory arm. You know what that means? That means something like the Heritage Institute. That doesn't mean shit. Focused on revenue forecast. Met in the Capitol to review at least 8 proposals by lawmakers. Oh, so he has a bunch of people trying to figure out a way to increase taxation because he wants to reduce or eliminate property taxes. So I don't know if this guy understands this, but
I'm just talking about abolishing property.
If they get rid of property taxes, they're just going to tax you another way, man. Is he retarded? It looks like that's what DeSantis is doing. Hey, find ways that people don't get upset about. Tax them that way, and then make it so I can say something cool like I'm getting rid of property taxes. That's literally what this is. He has people frantically trying to give him proposals on how to fucking make up the revenue. You know, fuck you some other way. Like, this is a joke, right?
Property taxes. We don't agree with it. We don't like it.
Okay, we'll get ready for a fucking gnarly fucking sales tax then, or get ready for a pudgy little fucking boy tax. I don't know. It'll happen. Something will happen. You'll get taxed some way.
Those things are going away. Within the next 10 years, I reckon.
Police department to engage.
This guy's retarded.
Or to cooperate with
those are
ICE
changes
or
that I hope are
DHS.
coming.
Very good luck. Like, sure. Good luck, man. I wish you peace in that endeavor. Oh, it's working. Go. Kind of. Oh, never mind. F. This is Bologna. Okay, this is absolutely Bologna. I had it working before. I don't know how to do it. F. You know what? More
when you're a communist like Zoran Mamdani.
I mean, the governor of Florida is already leading the charge. He's already signing it into law where people are not going to pay taxes on their property. Mm-hmm.
You might be able to control.
How is he just confidently saying that? This is 1 day old. What do you mean signing it into law? What is happening? Where did he get this from? I'm so confused right now, dude. Doesn't make any sense. Literally 0 sense right now. Bro. I fucking hate audio stuff.
Prices.
No, then the Florida schools, look, tell me you don't know what you're talking about without telling me you don't know what you're talking about. Florida schools get majority of their funding from lottery. You want to know why Florida?
Is that why they don't have any money? Local funding for Florida schools primarily comes from property taxes. I think you won this one, Bogos. What do you think? Who would have thought? Local revenue for school support is derived almost entirely from property taxes. I think you won this debate, Bogos.
Florida's so nice, chat. It's because the lottery is in Florida is huge, and a lot of
He does, doesn't he?
those funds from the lottery go to school, go to police districts, go to roads, go to maintenance.
Also, I find it interesting to think that the lottery, a literal gambling pool, okay, is somehow like a good thing too. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Across the state.
What's up, Dennis? What do you need help with?
Okay.
But you can't control
Has nothing
a
to do with
CNN
that.
anchor from going after you. For some reason, Anderson Cooper decided to pull up an old clip of Zoran Mamdani and call out how pro-Muslim he is. And of course, Mamdani's answer.
Major Daddy. That is what happens. Space, comma, space. When schools teaches, I'm having a stroke, I think. When schools teaches about transgenders. Do I have to finish? Holy fuck, bro. And instead, somehow we have no comment here, though. Someone needs to remind Major Daddy how commas work. Every time you pause in your head when you're writing a sentence is a good place to put a comma. So right here, not really. It's kind of broken English anyway, but like, maybe you could put one here and not put the word and. Well, Dennis, is this the same person?
Was terrible,
the person that
but it
you had an issue with, or no? Why does it bother you then? Shouldn't it be okay if it's a different person? I think you might be ruminating a little bit. We're talking like an hour or something, right?
did give you a hint into what he's possibly going to do, and I break that down for you at the end of the video. It's Sean Daniel here, and you know why you can't take Zoran Mamdani serious?
Well, as bad as that may seem, Dennis, it might be if you are spam texting her, right? That she may not want to actually deal with you knowing, not because she's actually trying to hide something, right? So, is that something that might be accurate or no?
Number one, look at his collar. Look at those buttons on his collar. Looks like he's a history teacher about to go to class in the suburbs of New York when he's going to run for mayor. Number two, you cannot trust Zoran Mamdani because he wears rings on both his...
So, yeah, what the hell did you just say? What is... What? If that's the reason you think she did it, then maybe... I don't really know if... I mean, you trust her, right? It shouldn't be an issue. I think.
What is
But
the
you have to just...
And you know, for some reason,
and,
Anderson Cooper decided
probably
to
calm
pull
down a
up
little
an
bit,
old
you know?
clip of Zoran Mamdani and call out how pro-Muslim Daniel here. And you know why you can't take Zoran Mamdani serious? Number one, look at his collar. Look at those buttons on his collar. Looks like he's a history teacher about to go to class in the suburbs of New York when he's going to run for mayor. Number two, you cannot trust Zoran Mamdani because he wears rings on both his hands. What is he, in a punk rock band, bro?
That's pretty cool if you ask me. I don't think that's true, Dennis.
But before we hear from that idiot communist, let's hear how Trump called him out.
We're now 5 days from Election Day and the biggest mayoral race in the country that could upend all conventional wisdom in the three-way race. There's Democratic Socialist candidate Zoran Mamdani.
Why do they keep using the beret?
The thing is, democratic socialism and social democracy are two different things, buddy. That's what she was trying to explain to you. What Mamdani wants is democratic socialism, which doesn't
Stop
work.
lying. See? Could be something like that. I mean, Does she like to play Victoria? It doesn't sound like she likes to play Victoria.
It doesn't work.
I thought it was
what
fun.
social democracy does in Europe works. They're two different things, and people have them confused. They're not the same.
Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's running as an independent, and Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa. All of them have been busy crisscrossing the city campaigning. A new Marist poll out today of likely New York City voters show Mamdani with 48% over Cuomo's 32% and Sliwa's at 18%. Now, the stakes are high if Mamdani is elected. President Trump has threatened to withhold federal funding for the city and deploy National Guard.
And according to this, Florida is number 11 in all the 50 states on education. So Florida ain't that bad. Number 11 is not terrible. It was a lot worse.
Trying to fix my mic at the same time. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, okay. 12. Playing through fucking both, bro. I'm literally gonna lose it. Okay, love you.
When I was in school there, it was like number 21 or something.
Guard troops here, as he's done or pledged to do in other Democratic-led cities like Washington, D.C., Chicago, and Portland. For months, the president has often gone after Mamdani.
We have a communist who's 33 years old, doesn't know a damn thing. Practically, he's never worked a day in his life. And he sort of caught on, right? And I'm not going to send a lot of money to New York. We're not going to ruin one of our great cities because we'll make that great. We will clean up the crime in about 30 days. And all of these cities, we want to clean them up. We don't like that opposition. But if somebody's going to be a communist mayor of New York, it's a fluke if he gets in.
Do you guys agree with Trump that he should withhold funding from New York City? Because I do. And imagine how much it must hurt him to see possibly New York getting ready to elect a communist who's 33, who's never had a job, never really run anything. Because he has a super passion for New York. He built his career, his empire. He loves New York. Imagine thinking about your guy's hometown or someplace where you've done something really special and you see it just go to waste. That's probably how Trump feels about New York, and to see it going down like this. Forget politically, forget economically. It's just got to be tough emotionally, I would imagine, for him. Even though he's a tough cookie, he handles all this stuff. It's got to hurt to see New York possibly going down this terrible, terrible road.
Earlier today, I spoke with the Democratic nominee, New York Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani. Recently,
I'm just going to go down a list of where socialism fails and or converts over to communism. Soviet Union, People's Republic of China, Eastern Europe, Warsaw Pact, Yugoslavia, Cuba, North Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Ethiopia, Venezuela, Zimbabwe. That is just within the last 50 years. Got to remember, 100 million people died in the 20th century under socialism in particular.
Wait, yeah, Dennis, yeah. If you don't think if it doesn't feel like it's an actual problem, or, there's no reason to be worried, right? Then absolutely. It shouldn't really bother you that much. Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Federal funding, possibly send in National Guard troops if you're elected, Andrew Cuomo.
Yeah, no worries, man. It can be hard, again, controlling the intrusive thoughts in these situations. I mean, I've never really had to deal with it. Even though I was cheated on when I was younger, like I don't know, I just never have those thoughts. But I have different ones, right?
9 times out of 10, when these socialism
Do you play any of those games?
societies collapsed, they became communist shortly after, or a dictatorship.
Most kind of amplified that. What do you say to New Yorkers who say, is this worth the hassle
Do you like playing them?
of losing perhaps a lot of money in federal funding if you become the mayor?
You know, we're already seeing this as a reality with Eric Adams.
Okay. That is not an argument. I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't vote for you because President Donald Trump doesn't like it and he might get rid of funding, which is totally illegal. But like, I don't know, man.
Adams as the mayor, right? The federal administration took $80 million out of city coffers. They suspended $50 million for our city schools, and then they threatened to withhold $18 billion in infrastructure grants. And the most effective way to push back on his threats is to actually name them for what they are, and then use every tool at your disposal to take them on.
So what do you do if he decides? I mean, we already saw there was an ICE action on Canal Street. They said they were targeting undocumented immigrants who were, selling counterfeit bags.
I remember that.
Canal Street is kind of, there's a long history of that, obviously.
Oh. Convenient. Convenient. ICE is saying the reason they're probing Canal Street is because of a long history of drug selling there. What the fuck does that have to do with immigration enforcement?
What do you do?
I think this is an example of what is unacceptable in this country. I think the first thing that you do is you...
So here's the difference between social democracy and here's
Does this guy have a prompt?
the difference between social democracy.
Dude, just slamming away at AI. Chat GPT, please help. Can you? It's literally just the question. What is social democracy? Like nothing beforehand. No bounding, nothing, dude. No instructions. Just can you please help me win argument? I need to dominate my opponent, Bogos. Why is Cuba communist and not let people buy homes? Please make me win. Prepare, Bogos. Because I'm going. I thought the last word was passionately. Here, Bogo, see? I told you. Look at this. It's clear.
And democratic socialism. Social democracy, core goal, reform capitalism to make it more humane and equitable. Democratic socialism, replace capitalism with a socialist economy, worker public ownership of key industries. So they start replacing key industries.
I wonder where it pulled this information from.
and put it underneath the government. So again, a step towards communism, right? And to keep in mind, Mamdani actually does have blatant communist ideas that he wants to bring to New York. So that, we're not talking about that here. Economic system, market capitalism with strong welfare state, regulation, and redistribution. Okay. Socialist is a socialist planned or worker-controlled economy achieved via democratic means, elections, not revolution. That's the difference there. Private property, yes. Democratic socialism, no. Limited. It's either no or limited. No, they're very close, Bogos. They're very close. Communism and socialism are very close. That's my whole point.
First thing to breathe. It helps me. It doesn't help everyone, but I mean, if you're really in like a panic state, one of the first things you're often told to do is at least try and control your breathing. Yeah, I'm watching Bogos have beef with this guy.
Point.
Who the fuck is Edward Bernstein? Hmm. Oh, look. Look at that. It's often labeled social democratic, but some parties and movements identify with democratic socialism. Interesting. I wonder why. Why would the state parties in Norway literally not care what this fucking dude has to say about the difference between them? Oh. You know, isn't this kind of like a waste of time? Because let's just assume that democratic socialism and social democracy, and we've all been using the incorrect definition. What you said, Bogos, earlier was democratic socialism, right? But we all know colloquially what that means. It means this one, I guess. But no one uses this word really, at least that I know. Maybe it's a US thing, maybe it's more used in Europe. I don't fucking know. But if he simply knew that this is what you were saying, then what is the point of arguing? Because I don't think you ever said this one, if this is the case. Like, if he knew what you were saying, then he's just being pedantic.
You close the door that Eric Adams opened to the NYPD doing civil immigration.
And let's not talk about what you think I don't understand. You can't seem to see the difference between democratic socialism and social democracy.
That's because I don't really see it either, but we all know that we're talking about I guess the social democratic one. So why does he need to see a difference? What is the point? You brought up a country that is, I guess, social democracy, and said the word democratic socialism. I would have done the same thing. But we all know we're talking about this one.
You don't even know the difference. I'm trying to explain it to you and you're ignoring it.
He said that on national television. The second thing you do...
So you would not allow the New York Police Department to engage or to...
What in the fuck is that? Communism just comes about when they run out of money and they just have to arrest people? Brilliant.
Operate with ICE or DHS?
Brilliant.
Not in civil immigration enforcement. We have sanctuary city laws where we've made very, very clear that for a set of serious crimes, there is coordination with the federal administration. But anything beyond that, I think hundreds.
Okay.
Honestly, Bogos, I would have said the same thing as I did earlier. Like, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. That better?
I'm not even talking to you anymore. I literally just showed you what social democracy is, and that's actually a thing that's already in Europe.
Which one? Again, I'm pretty sure you were talking about those countries anyway. So why does it matter?
It exists. There's systems of it, and you're gonna say that's
Norway
not a thing.
and stuff.
You're just okay. I'm gonna calm down. I'm gonna calm down so I don't say something dumb. But I'm just not talking to you anymore. I'm done talking to you.
172 that crimes that are listed. That is something for the NYPD to focus on purely right here.
You go
in New York
yap
City.
to yourself.
Realize he just said it's unacceptable that ICE went and cleaned up those illegal immigrants, mostly from Senegal and Central West.
Yeah, what did he just say about this? Hold on, let me go back.
With ICE or DHS?
Not in civil immigration enforcement. We have sanctuary city laws where we've made very, very clear that for a set of serious crimes, there is coordination with the federal administration. But anything beyond that, I think 172 crimes that are listed, that is something for the NYPD to focus on pure.
Buddy, the only thing you educated us on is how dumb you are. That's literally the only thing.
You know what, Bogos? I do applaud the way you're able to stand in the pocket, though. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck.
You educated us on.
Really right here in New York City.
Realize he just said it's unacceptable that ICE went and cleaned up those illegal immigrants, mostly from Senegal and Central West Africa.
He called you a dumb DUM ass.
Selling counterfeit items on the streets of New York. Because
yeah, it's okay.
Who's going to come in here and like, at least I educated your chat. You didn't say a single fact. There was not a single fact that he brought to the table.
Other than owning homes in Cuba, I guess.
Why are these people like... And
I mean, I did go up and look up a few. And maybe, now that I read this, there is some wiggle room. For us, you and I, Bogos, me included, to literally give zero fucks about the distinction here because no one really ever fucking cares. No one actually means the definition of this when they say democratic socialism, so... Bogus. I mean, he's kind of just floundering and being a bitch when the whole time, Bogos, you brought up the Norwegian countries. He got annoyed at the definition. I don't really think he did a good job of explaining it. I don't think it matters. Never engaged with the fact that you're talking about the same country.
And he calls himself a conservative. Like, what? What are you talking about?
it's an immigration case. It's not prosecuting them for the counterfeit goods which they were selling. And the fact that almost 50% of people in the polls right now
didn't even follow. Didn't even follow, Bogos. What the fuck?
now are leaning towards voting for this guy. When ICE just cleaned up all those Africans who make it
Do we have an illegal immigrant problem with Africans? Bro, holy self-report. Wait, what in the fuck? What Africans do we have here that are illegal? What did he just say? Am I like, did I mishear that? What Africans are coming here illegally?
Like what? What are you talking about?
It's an immigration case. It's not prosecuting them for the counterfeit goods which they were selling. And the fact that almost 50% of people in the polls right now are leaning towards voting for this guy. When ICE just cleaned up all those Africans who made.
Is this guy like so racist he can't even contain himself or what, bro? Like that doesn't make sense. We don't have an African illegal immigrant problem. Why is ICE even involved?
Make it unsafe for you to walk by and.
That's a local jurisdiction problem. If anything, why is ICE handling it?
Film anywhere in there. We've seen it with a lot of videos recently that those black Africans were
Is this guy all right? He was. He overstayed his visa. Yeah. Did you hear the contempt in his voice? Those black Africans. Holy fuck, bro. What is happening?
ICE just cleaned up all those Africans who make it unsafe for you to walk by and film anywhere in there. We've seen it with a lot of videos recently that those black Africans
Quit being a bitch. There you go. I solved it.
Were aggressive to anyone filming on Canal Street because
I mean, what were you doing there? You know, in my experience, even when I was allowed to film somewhere, you best believe that no one likes really being on camera, and it's actually kind of rude to just like film people randomly. So I can only imagine going to somewhere which ICE is like inundated in and unconstitutionally just fucking poking the hornet's nest of some African community. They probably don't want to see your fucking pasty stupid ass there. That's all I'm gonna say.
they know it's
I banned them, guys. I got them out of here.
And we also heard that the police, when they come and arrest them, they have to go release.
You know what's funny, man?
What is funny?
Like, there's gonna be a day when their ego is gonna get checked hard when they realize they turn.
When you realize that Cuba has home ownership, I don't know.
Around when people like that turn around.
When you realize that taxation will find another way to happen if you get rid of property taxes, I don't know.
And they're like, oh, everything I voted for backfired.
I'm going to save this. When this dude finally understands what the word means there.
And they're going to have to be like, damn, they're going to have to take that "we told you so" moment.
I'm going to say that.
You know? And, you know, me as a Christian, I'm trying not to revel in that moment. I don't want to.
Why did you think about it then?
Revel in that moment. I don't want to. It's going to happen. And what I want to do when that day happens, I'm going to be like, come on.
Oh my God, bro. And I thought progressives were the kings of fucking virtue signaling. I'm kicking that ladder down, buddy. Okay.
You know, just come on. Let's get to work. And that's it.
It's not my fault you don't look like Hitler's dream child.
Him the next day because the DA doesn't want to prosecute anything.
Oh, he might not be American.
When the candle starts to get to your fucking color,
they can't turn over those.
All I'm saying is I'm good for another 5-10 years, bro. Fucking Christ. I need to shut up.
Policies. That's the idiot that is possibly going to run New York City.
Leading Republicans are
laws where we've been very, very clear that for a set of serious crimes, there is coordination with the federal administration. But anything beyond that, I think 172 crimes that are listed, that is something for the NYPD to focus on purely right here in New York City.
Leading Republicans are trying to make you, in some ways, the new face of the Democratic Party. I'm sure you heard what Speaker Mike Johnson said. He essentially blamed you, at least indirectly, for the ongoing government shutdown. I just want to play what he.
Dude, Mike Johnson's about to blame the fucking ground, I think, for the government shutdown. He's about to blame chemtrails, dude.
Look, I don't care if you're a conservative, chat, or a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat, chat. If you blatantly sit here and ignore facts and pretend they don't exist, even...
You mean the ones like property taxes not being signed into legislation, being removed in Florida, or that Cuba has homeownership, or that pretty much every country you mentioned was not like a communist country? Or... I don't know, probably keep going though. That the definition of a democracy literally has nothing to do with private property? I don't know.
When I do show them to you, I'm like, here it is.
Where? I didn't see them once. Look, he's even doing the presentation thing. Dude, you gotta show that shit, right?
And you just like, no, that's not a thing.
I mean, you show ChatGPT for social democracy, which... Congratulations. No one gives a fuck.
I don't want you here. Because there's no conversation with you that would ever be in good faith.
Yes.
I don't care if you're a Republican or Democrat. I don't care if you're conservative or liberal. If you can't acknowledge facts, there's no conversation. You might as well just sit down, lurk, and hate behind the scenes.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your dominance. All right. Paste Bogos' exact claims and I'll tailor everything. Okay. Bogos, what are your exact claims? First Bogos claim. Right? First Bogos claim. You're a fucking loser, dude. What do I say to that? We can absolutely neutralize it. All right, Bogos, prepare. Option 1, calm and dominant. Calling me names doesn't make your argument stronger. It's focused on the issue. This is garbage. Bogos is going to dominate me. I didn't see that. Interesting point. End Bogos' career. Starting with name calling, classic sign you can't defend your position, Bogos. We're here to discuss facts, not trade insults. The facts show, I'm not going to show it, but I showed it. And notice how Bogos started with an insult instead of evidence about Cuba homeownership, which are clearly right here that I'm not going to show. And facts matter. Bogos insults, those don't matter. All right, Bogos, goodbye. Your career's done.
Or dip, and that's it.
They're worried about the radical left base that is rising in the Democrat Party, and some of the leading politicians here, including the two New Yorkers who run both chambers, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, are afraid they're going to get a challenge from...
Exactly, clutch motherfucker. Oh my God, they're still talking about you in the chat, bro. He seems like a retard, actually, Dennis. I'm not even going to give him some moniker. He seems like... Is that a gym in this room? That dude's never picked up a weight in his life, I'm pretty sure. What are we doing?
...like candidate. And so they have to show a fight, and that's what this is about.
Former, doing a lot of lifting there.
The only reason they did it right now is because they're afraid of the rise of the far-left Marxists in their party.
Bro, I'm 100%, I'm willing to be educated all the time. I saw you guys asking, hey, where's the evidence? Where do you have, show us the evidence. Where is it? Nothing. He just kept blabbing. He just kept blabbing.
I think this guy has, like, not a very good memory.
It's nonsense. No evidence to it at all. He was like, oh, that's not what it is. That's impossible. It can't be what it is. He's like, okay, well, show me then. Oh, no, nothing? Okay, well, let me show you. Oh, that's not real. Okay.
It's a little disrespectful, Bogos, but it's fine.
We're done talking.
And they have to show them that they're going to fight. And real people are hurting during this political game, this showmanship.
Do you believe National Democrats are afraid of you and Schumer has not endorsed you?
I believe the National Democrats are holding the line right now to actually call the question on the Trump administration, which ran a presidential campaign on the premise of cheaper groceries and is now using the power that they won to make it even harder to afford those groceries. And to hear someone try and pin this on me when what we've actually seen.
The problem here with the grocery store stuff, if anyone wants to know, no illusions, if anyone wants to know where most of the price increases happens from groceries, it's not at the grocery level. It's at like the farming level where like Tyson owns a bunch of farms and stuff. Grocers don't have a lot of wiggle room. They don't have nearly the same facts or same profits. So I don't think what Mamdani's proposing here is going to fix the problem of food inflation. It's going to have to be something much more grand on a national scale. I'm not sure how this will work out.
Is that Americans just want their health care. They just want to be able to afford their groceries, their day-to-day lives. It shows how out of touch the Republican Party is.
Mamdani knows he's a force, and he knows that the Democrats have to show a face against Trump because he's gaining traction. And he knows this because he's not even worried about not getting the endorsement from top Democrats in his state. He's not worried that he has no endorsement from Chuck Schumer, no endorsement from Hakeem Jeffries. He knows he's got the power, and he knows
it's a psyop trick. Yeah, 100%.
Those left Democrats, those center Democrats, let's call them now, which is insane to say, are scared of him. And also remember that one of his main messages is affordability. So he wants to talk about how the grocery prices are higher, which could be true.
Chat, here's another key thing. Like, you want to know when somebody has no merit behind.
Bogos, you are literally making it harder to defend you with every comment, bro. How many fucking chats have you been banned from? What is this?
Saying when he start calling you names.
Stop talking.
When he started calling me dumb and putting LOL in all caps, I already knew. I'm like, okay, this is gonna go nowhere.
He's over here like, yeah, I got banned from here. I honestly, man, if you keep running into the same problem, everyone else is the problem, not me.
Like at that point, I was like, okay, this guy, he's not serious. He's not arguing in good faith. He doesn't know. He probably knows nothing of what he's speaking on.
I mean, besides the definition of democracy and housing in Cuba, but
and it always goes that route. It's just so weird. So strange.
His whole thing is affordability in New York City, where he
Bogos doesn't like income tax.
Wants to have state-run grocery stores. He wants to have rent-controlled apartments or areas.
We already have rent-controlled apartments in New York. He wants to do stricter rent controls.
He wants to have city buses be free. He wants to do so many things when
Bogos. I don't know how to tell you this, but all of those places had colonization and weak institutional strength. And then once they tried to be independent, they had weak institutional strength, didn't have strong institutions, so they couldn't protect themselves when they became independent.
So anytime he can bring up affordability about the Republicans or the Trump administration, that's like his sweet spot with his voters, with his mostly immigrant or second-generation immigrant voters.
Okay.
Is how can we give away more things for free? So he's
oh my God. How insightful.
Going to bring it up constantly. If you've made it this far in the interview and you have
it doesn't have to be the West. Countries that were colonized and tried to be independent, the country itself, as it tried to form its independence, would be institutionally weak as well and kind of vulnerable. In a way, that's not really the West's fault.
Interesting. Chat, I want to show you guys something really quick.
Incredibly concerning.
Let me pull this up.
And I think that it's incredibly concerning. And I think that it
Yo, Lifted, what's up, brother?
I am unfamiliar with, let's see. That's partly due to colonization, but also because of their institutional strength. It doesn't have to be the West's fault, like unilaterally, though. Bogos. I mean, just from using AI, right? The white minority government in southern Rhodesia declared independence, years of conflict because of that, which are the colonizers, I'm assuming. Not until the 80s did they finally come to an agreement. And then 1980 was the first year that majority rule elections happened. So long history of colonialism and racist infighting because of a small part of. But I know, but you said Zimbabwe has been independent since the 60s. It's right there. See? It's not that they need to blame the West. It's that you have to understand that these countries are trying to develop when they don't have institutional strength to protect themselves. So it's not like the West is the only reason that exists, but colonization probably did not help these countries develop internally on their own, so where they could be strong enough to protect themselves from outside influences. And that could be other African countries, by the way, Bogos. It's not really as simple as you're saying the West, though, if that's what you're trying to say, because that's not true.
Illustration of the attacks we're seeing on our democracy. Sometimes they're blatant and explicit.
It could be from Asian countries. It's just when countries are not isolated in a way that they could develop their own institutional strength, okay, they are unfortunately a victim to something internal or external when they try to develop
in the
them.
manner of these bomb threats, and we have to understand.
So the bomb threats in New Jersey, he's blaming Trump on the bomb threats in New Jersey.
Sometimes they were extracted again by other African countries. It's just, it really comes down to the institutional strength, not really like a West-East thing.
Jersey. In my hometown, Paterson, New Jersey. He's blaming Trump for some reason. like it's.
You mean Trump is not to blame for this? Trump literally has advanced the big lie about the 2020 election forever. Now it's like permanently in these fucking retards' head. You've got to be fucking joking, right? Why else would someone send in a bomb threat? Being 8 out of the 9 fucking locations being blue.
Trump's fault that some idiot decided to, issue a bomb threat.
He must have thought of it on his own.
For the polls in New Jersey.
Yeah, he must have thought of it on his own. Not like elections are broken and this is some existential threat to America or something.
Hey, we're just following the election today, brother.
As part of the general approach the Trump administration has taken to trying to intimidate voters with...
That's crazy. What? Like, Trump voters are trying to intimidate people at the polls. Brother, notoriously, over the last few years...
Notoriously what? Blackwater was. Blackwater is not a good. Same with Halliburton. Pretty shitty fucking things that we have done. But the U.S. was perfectly capable of taking on the pirates with our Navy. We didn't need to use paramilitary.
The only people who have been threatening
Definitely should not be
anybody
doing
at the
that.
polls have been Democrats, my guy. I'm sorry to tell you.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Baseless allegations of voter fraud as a means of trying to repress the voice of Americans across this country.
I don't know if he's going to get that question again today, but the general approach the Trump administration has taken to try and intimidate voters, unless we heard him incorrectly, what in the world is he talking about?
He is serving up a Kamala-sized word salad, but he's using kale instead of romaine. It's just a slightly better finessed verbiage than we were given with her. This is
They put up. I remember they put up not 2x4. They put like plywood around the windows of the counting area so nobody could watch them. The government had to send in people to watch, and they didn't even like it. Like, bro, why wouldn't you want us watching you count the vote? What are you talking about? Like, how much more shady do you have to look? You know, but
is emptiness. It means nothing. What he's doing is deflecting because he doesn't have an answer for this because he is not prepared.
Kale's
if
a
God
superfood.
forbid,
Yeah, but it tastes like
something
ass.
like 9/11 happens again. Just think about that. Were you in New York on 9/11? Do you remember what happened to this city? Do you remember what happened to this country?
Halliburton was the Iraq one. Dick Cheney's, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you remember who was mayor and what was needed from that office? Could this person really provide that?
Into these states goes wrong. Money that was meant to fund roads, schools, hospitals, electrification often goes straight to the hands of the ruling elites. Presidents who fly private jets to international
Halliburton had a
conferences,
paramilitary group
or
as well.
government ministers spotted wearing $60,000 Rolex watches during anti-poverty meetings. Estimates suggest that the continent loses around $30 billion every year due to corruption, and 30% of all the aid money it receives. Over the past 50 years, this could amount to hundreds of billions of dollars being stolen.
Or maybe,
but the problem isn't.
Maybe Blackwater gets their guns or gets stuff from Halliburton. I can't really remember. I thought Blackwater was in Iraq too. Of course, Donald Trump pardons these guys. What the? Okay. Night, Dennis. I'm glad you didn't spam text her. It'll be okay, my friend, okay? How many people died here?
Just that this money is effectively being wasted, it also actively supports the very institutions that make development so hard. In a normal democracy, governments are funded through taxes, and that creates...
Oh my god, bro. Recuperation is what taxation is.
It's a two-way relationship between the state and the people. When the people pay taxes, they expect services in return. And if the ruling class fails to provide this, then they run the risk of people demanding...
No. Government spend money first, they tax later. That's what it means. I don't know how people fuck this up so much. It's not literally get money first and then you can get services. It is a government comes up with a plan, they spend money to do it, and then they recoup the cost of those services down the line, like a generation later. That's why taxation has a lagged effect. That's why right now wealth inequality is really bad. Because it takes a while for these things to actually take effect. It is not. Governments need to wait for taxation to fucking spend money. That is just so stupid. And everyone fucking thinks this way. I have no idea why.
A new government. But in aid-dependent countries, this accountability mechanism is broken. Because governments receive their funding from foreign donors, it doesn't really matter what the people of the country think.
Governments are the people. So, what's how it should be? You mean tax first? That doesn't make any sense. How would that make sense, Bogos? The entire history of like the fucking humanity is based on debt, Bogos. That wouldn't make any sense. You have never listened to my stream enough, I think, Bogos. The entire history of humanity is based on debt. Spending what you don't have. Literally. We don't spend money based on having debt is good. Having the level of debt the United States has right now is not good, yes.
And so corruption is able to persist with very little domestic resistance. This pretty much sums up the continent's political process for the past 50 years. Take Malawi, for example. At various points in the 2000s...
Do you want to know what it's like when a country doesn't have debt?
And early 2010s, foreign aid made up more than 40% of the national budget, but huge amounts of money was being stolen by government officials, paying for things like luxury cars, private homes, or even international shopping trips. You might expect a scandal to spark mass outrage, and after all, the government was siphoning off millions that were meant to serve the public, but that simply never happened because there was basically no political fallout. As the government's funding came from foreign sources, the people most affected by the mismanagement of public funds, the Malawian citizens, had very little power to demand systemic change. This isn't unique
Again, this comes down to institutional strength.
To Malawi. The same dynamic has been occurring across the continent for decades, and it in part explains why the country still has such high levels of corruption.
Okay, so just because the colonizers, in this case, a lot of these countries, finally allowed people of the countries to just like have elections, is not going to guarantee that they're going to be not corrupt. It's just a fantasy to think that after 20 years, African countries couldn't like figure it out. No, obviously.
Of course, some level of corruption exists in basically every country.
Sure, but the strength of the institutions that you have can inhibit that. And Africa doesn't have any of that. In fact, they had a system of strength and institutional strength that did the opposite. It was a system of institutional strength that was very corrupt and extractionary. So they're kind of working from a different angle here, okay? The United States has a long time to develop its fucking liberal democracy, develop its institutional strength. It did it slowly. It's pretty hard to corrupt here. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to stay good because Trump sucks ass, but we did last a long time, I guess.
Especially during the early development stages. But even under these circumstances, a country can usually still achieve economic development. Small businesses, farmers, and entrepreneurs can drive progress from the ground up, creating
yes, they can.
Jobs and expanding access to goods and services without relying heavily on the state. But this
are these the technology to do all this? I mean, I don't get this. Why do we have to like mentally think that these two are not like linked in any way?
Goods and services.
How do these dudes get paid? Do they get paid in dollars?
Without relying heavily on the state.
Your whole entire life as a business owner relies on the state to protect your business. You are literally only there because of the state. You can't just separate them when you want.
This is another one of the main problems with aid.
Corrupt or not corrupt.
It makes ground up work much, much harder. Because aid makes this route of development far less likely. That's because more often than not...
I have no idea how you could prove that. Again, we're talking about macroeconomics now. There is zero way to test what he just said.
Things being provided by aid organizations are in direct competition with local businesses.
We've already debunked this. I could bring up the fucking mosquito net thing, where the aid for the mosquito nets specifically went to places that did not hurt local competition. They spent a lot of money to do that. I don't know about everything, but this is peddling pretty much propaganda at the moment. I'm sure he's not going to tell us a single specific detail on this. It's just going to be as vague as fuck for the next minute.
Take the textiles industry. By the early 2000s, nearly 80% of the clothing sold in some African nations came from abroad. At first, that might seem like a win-win. Clothes were cheap, and aid organizations feel good about reducing waste in Western countries. But the effect on local African industry was devastating. In Ghana alone, over 80% of domestic textile factories shut down between 1990 and 2010, which meant thousands of jobs.
Okay, and did these jobs shift into something else? Maybe selling the clothes? I don't know. Probably. We don't have domestic textile in the U.S., but we still have lots of jobs to sell clothes. It's not really giving a full picture.
And with them, so did the knowledge, machinery, and networks needed to sustain a homegrown industry.
Okay, and in order to make enough clothes, or I'm assuming this guy thinks that all these people are now just homeless?
In fact, in the
or none of the jobs
last
shifted?
2 decades, Africa's industrial sector has shrunk from 15% of the continent's economy.
You have, because I'm going to stop streaming in like 20 minutes. I'm sorry, Energy.
To now just 10%. This isn't a coincidence.
Okay, it's not a coincidence because the entire fucking world, outside of like, what, a few Asian countries, has had domestic industry decrease.
Academic research has found that on average, foreign aid hurts industrialization in
Okay, and at the top of this paper, it does say, the importance of industrialization as an engine of economic growth and structural transformation has been largely documented. Cool. Now, this means that some of the important detriments of industrialization remain unidentified in Africa. It also means the benefits remain unidentified. Okay. In the countries of Africa, after like 100 years of colonial control, I mean, does that not jive with your principle, or? I mean, is it just like, bam, figure it out, or what? The thing is that all the countries on the planet are kind of intertwined. So to think that out of moral principle you can just like hand wave that away is kind of impossible, I think. I have some major concerns with this paper. I would find that funny too. What the fuck?
Africa, even the World Bank.
Okay, you got to read the conclusions, dude. You're gonna make me go fucking find this goddamn paper right now. I fucking hate you. Analyzing the effect of foreign aid on industrialization. This is specifically, by the way, on industrialization. I can't really say that's not true. I feel like that would be true in a way. I would agree with Hayek there. Africa's deindustrialization is of interest to study. Indeed, while other regions of the world, such as Asia, have seen a significant increase, I already said this. Wow. Who'd have thought? However, industrialization presents many challenges in terms of achieving other sustainable development objectives, such as poverty reduction and job creation. It is therefore too important. I hate you. Oops. Man. No. Suck. Bro, I literally hate all. Take a break. All right, guys, I'm gonna end my stream today. I want to take the bike for a ride before work. Wow, I turned this guy into a pretty long time, didn't I? It's like a classic Hassan stunlock, I think. Holy shit. It's you have some zippy one-liners, you know that? There's some zippy ass one-liners. This person better be on energy. You're gonna make me look like a fool. All right? All right. I started the raid. It's all right. I enjoy watching you get dominated, Bogos. Thank you all for watching.
Terms go away. These will be 0. And we're left with x cubed plus 3 cubed. Which is x cubed plus 27. Like that. Whoa, Sirkar, welcome on in, my friend. Hello. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing okay.
Welcome. Thank you, Raiders. Welcome on in. Hope you're having a great day. My name is Zach. This is Eda the Two-Eyed Pie. How are you doing? Sirkar. Welcome on in, Bogos. We're doing some math today. I'm answering questions from chat. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Your community is... I'm glad you're here. Let's go shout out Sirkar. It wasn't until it wasn't. Fair enough. Well, welcome on in. I hope you're having a great day. This is we do, like I said, we do math here, and we do various kinds of streams. I sometimes use software development. We've done trivia streams before, but right now I'm answering math questions from chat. If you have homework or other things you're just wondering, we just had a question about this.
Actually, really
what's
cool.
called the difference in sum of cubes. If you've seen this in algebra, we were trying to show why you factor a specific way when you have a sum or a difference of cubes. And I was showing some different methods for that. But thank you, and thank you for the follows. We're having follows, so much appreciated. I can understand how Newton's binomials, I assume that's binomial coefficients works, but I'm not sure about its coefficient. It's like combinatoric formulas that show how many unique ways you can get what exactly works. Yeah, we can. Let's actually. I think we should talk about that over your Fourier transform question. Can you mathematically prove the difference between social democracy and democratic socialism? I don't know if I can. Sorry, Bogos. Sorry to disappoint here. But, yeah. Even irrationals or fractions are just continued. Yeah, that's true. That's another fun topic.
You're such a dork.
To talk about.
All right, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for watching.
The basic idea here, just to sort of wrap this discussion up, is when you multiply, when you have a general sum like a right here, x plus a, x squared, you write x squared minus ax plus a squared. That's going to be x squared, x cubed minus, plus a cubed. And that's called the sum of cubes because you're writing